Next time on a very spooky fine dining podcast, the season 1 finale, TGI Fridays the 13th. Oh, you betcha, pineapple's gonna hit the fan as Michael's son Juicy, or in this episode, Juice's son Voorhees, goes on a murderous rampage, and no one is safe. It gets real spooky, it gets real bloody, and not everyone's gonna make it to the end of the episode. Who will live, who will die? Listen to Fine Dining, the search for the most mediocre restaurant in America, break down a trip to TGI Fridays based on the atmosphere, the service, and the food, and try not to be scared to death. Hear the thrilling finale of Fine Dining, Wednesday, October 25th, wherever you get your podcasts.
It's like I always said, the cost of living crisis will go away if we just formed a really long queue. Now let's never talk about it ever again. I'm Harriet Langley-Swindon, and this is Non-Censored. This show is an edited highlight of our in-person appearance at the London Podcast Festival. We don't say live appearance anymore because it's disrespectful given recent events. Now, there's a lot in this episode. We had an interview with Tom Walker, otherwise known as Jonathan Pye. We interviewed energy producer Sir Edward Fry, which was very interesting. And we also discussed whether paying your respects is woke. Now, this was a show for paying customers, so obviously we had to take out the funniest bit, so you won't know what that is unless you were there. But you just need to know that it was definitely there. And maybe next time buy a ticket. I mean, it really was so funny. I mean, just thinking about it, but you will never know. It's been edited out seamlessly. Anyway, to begin with, we started by talking about the death of the Queen with myself, Eshaan, Akbar, and an incredibly moving contribution from producer Martin. Eshaan, Akbar, welcome.
Thank you.
How are you this week?
Fine. I'm a bit annoyed about this situation.
I think you mean devastated.
Well, yes, I'm slightly devastated. I've not been back in this building since 12 years ago when I got sacked by The Guardian 2 weeks into a 6-week job. What? You didn't tell me this was where we were going to be, and now I'm here again. It's just brought back all the memories. I bought red trousers and a Brompton. I've not used them since, anyway.
Yeah, you got cancelled by The Guardian, basically.
I did get cancelled by The Guardian because I thought they were doing a disservice to young Muslim men all over the world, and I was the only brown man in the editorial meeting, and they got rid of me.
This is actually true.
Actually true. You think I'm joking? No, true. So I'm slightly annoyed about that. That's been the worst news this week.
No, actually, I'm going to stop you there, Eshaan, because that's not been the worst news. We would be amiss if we were going to avoid talking about the death of the Queen. Don't worry, we will be delicate. This is obviously a delicate topic. I want to tell you both that when the news broke, I was in Victoria Station and no one would look at me. No one would look at me. And I thought, they know it's because I met the Queen. And they couldn't meet my eyes. And I go up to them and I go, why won't you look at me? It's okay. It's okay. Did I tell you about the time I met the Queen?
Well, no. I mean, I feel like you're going to, though.
Yeah.
It seems like that's, the narrative that you're... Yep.
So we met. It was very spontaneous. I was standing in a line and she came and she shook my hand. And she said, pleased to meet you. But it's often the case, isn't it, that when someone says a few words, actually, they're saying so much more. Mm. And I could see that she was saying, you look wonderful in that dress. You have kind eyes. And I really like your views. But she, that's what I got across. And it was really wonderful. And I'm sure that she thought about me before she died as well. It was really quite wonderful. Mm. Have you met the Queen, Eshaan?
No, but I do have an interesting relationship with the Queen of the royal family. I don't know if you know, but a few hundred years ago...
No, Eshaan, no.
Why?
No, Eshaan, you can't be... It feels like you're going to go under disrespectful lines about the Queen, so we're going to stop that right now.
I'm just doing some factual history stuff, really.
No. Factual history is disrespectful, as many people know. Thank you very much.
Okay.
I never...
He's never met the Queen.
I never met the Queen.
No.
But I feel like I did. Because I think, like a lot of people, she was on the money, wasn't she? So we all...
You don't have any money.
I've
I've
seen money.
Have you?
Yeah, I know about it.
Okay.
Anyway, I wanted to write a poem. So I did write a poem. And now, if it's all right with you, I'm going to read it out.
Are you going to stand?
That feels like more respectful, yes. Okay. E is for England, the country you... Eshaan, could you please?
Eshaan, whatever you feel about Martin, this is about the Queen.
I'm just going... E is for England, the country you served. L is for legs. Yours travelled the earth. I is for idolised. By everyone, of course. Z is for zebra. A striped noble horse. A is for all, the kindness you gave. B is for brilliant, like your special queen wave. E is for everyone that you left behind. T for tomorrow, the passage of time. H for historic, we'll never forget. Elizabeth Regina, I wish that we'd met. Thank you.
But very lovely poem. When did you write that?
Just like after she died.
Before she died?
No. I'd started workshopping it before she died. It's like, it takes a while to write a poem. So.
Yes, you are Tennyson.
Wait, you workshopped it before she died?
Yeah, I was just jamming around with some ideas. So it's
a bit
very lovely
disrespectful,
poem.
Martin. One thing we wanted to do on this podcast is to try and give voices to the underdog, the people who don't really get to speak out, that are often vilified by the press. So please, you're going to love our next guest. He's a little David in a sea of Goliaths. He is, of course, Sir Edward Fry. He works for Petrocorp. And he is an energy producer, and he's a really hard time in the media of late. So please, bring your hands together for Sir Edward Fry. Thank you. There he is. Thank you so much, Sir Edward. Thank you for coming on the show.
Lovely to be here. Thank you.
Oh, absolutely wonderful. Now, Sir Edward, I was sort of explaining to the audience that you get a bit of a hard time in the press. Now, obviously, Liz Truss, our new Prime Minister, said she would take immediate action to deal with rising energy bills. However, she said she wouldn't do a windfall tax. Now, you and I both know that we don't need a windfall tax. No. But it'd be good because some people here, I suspect, have sneaked in from The Guardian above. Might disagree.
I can smell them, that's right.
Yeah. So could you explain, for the benefit of our audience, why we don't need a windfall tax and what your feelings are?
I mean, the thing about the oil and gas business is that we don't just make profits. We make excess profits. And I think there's something lovely about that. You know, we don't just make normal profits. We don't make, a few hundred million here and there. We make tens of billions.
Oh, that's so
of
lovely.
Excess profits.
Yeah. Yet it's
profits
sexy.
we weren't expecting to get, and yet we've got them anyway. I think there's something lovely about that.
Yes, that's really beautiful.
And I think the thing about a windfall tax is that implies that the profits that we got were somehow undeserved, unearned, and that's ridiculous. We earned those profits by our skills. the skills to be in the right place at the right time, and to have a pretty good relationship with your father's friend who got you a job in the oil and gas company.
Yes, the really important skills.
Yeah.
Which a lot of people lack.
Yes. I know. It's not my fault. I was born into privilege.
No.
And it's not my fault that I continue to have it.
Well, Sir Edward, I mean, I hope you don't mind me saying that I think often people born into privilege are a very sort of overlooked minority.
In many ways, we're the last.
Yes.
We're the last minority you can still attack, aren't they?
Yeah, that's true. All my research says that that's true.
Yeah.
I don't do any research, but all my research also says that's true.
I mean, the best thing about privileged people, they hardly ever complain. You never hear them complaining, do you?
I mean, to be fair, Eshaan, that is partly because we have very little to complain about.
Yeah.
But
Now, Sir Edward, our current Prime Minister, Liz Truss, very
Yes.
exciting.
Lovely.
Now, in the past, some of you may not know this, but she worked for Shell. Some impressed people. I know she's a woman of many talents and secrets. Now, you have donated a lot to Liz's campaign,
Yes.
as did 2 of your 3 wives.
that's true.
Yes.
Ex-wives, I'm not...
Ex-wives. It's not...
yes, that's true. Little Lizzo, as I like to call her. She's a lovely little girl, and known her whole life, pretty much. Yes, she did work for Shell for the first 4 years after graduating, but you can't hold that against somebody, can you?
No.
I mean, you can't hold against somebody what they did in the first 4 years after graduating. I mean, the first 4 years after I graduated, I worked in the city for a little business that went under during the financial crisis. And, I mean, was that my fault?
No.
Yes, it was, actually. Yeah. I made some bad decisions. But, I got another job, and it's fine now. So you can't say that, just because she worked for Shell for a little bit, and then she worked for another company, and then, that I gave her all that. Look, yes, I and some of my ex-wives did give her some money for her campaign because we believe in what she believes in.
Oh, wonderful.
It's got nothing to do with us, wanting anything from her.
What does she believe in? Because it does change.
Whatever I think.
Okay.
I basically ring her up and say, Liz, do you think about this? And she agrees with me most of the time. Then I write her a cheque. It's not corruption. It's just the way things work.
No, of course. This is the problem, isn't it? People look at this and they go, it's corruption. You go, no, sorry, money makes the world go round.
Absolutely. I give money to charity. I'm sure some of the people in here do. Not the Guardian people, probably. But they think themselves already as charity cases. But
I mean, you've been in charitable organisations your whole life. You went to private school.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and I've set up several charities.
Yeah.
Actually, there's the art gallery in my lounge.
Yeah.
And there's the swimming pool that we let people use in the area once a year.
Yeah.
That's a charity. So,
That's wonderful. See, no, I don't want to talk about my charity work, but I also give to charity. I helped a wonderful struggling couple decorate their new room.
Oh, that's lovely. I didn't know you did that.
Yes, I did. I gave some money. They wanted some gold wallpaper. And I thought, well, yes, they need that. They need that. And
Very nice.
so it was
very
wonderful.
nice.
Thank you. So, really, what you're doing here, Sir Edward Fry, is obviously there are a lot of angry people about the cost of living crisis.
Yeah.
But you are helping grow the economy.
Yes.
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 Like Liz Truss, I believe the most important thing is growing the economy.
Yes.
By the way, by the economy, I do mean my bank balance. That's what I...
Oh, same thing.
Yeah, I think of it like that. But look, she's right. There's no way that we in the oil and gas industry would invest in the UK if we weren't going to make loads of money. It's just there's no way we would, I mean, it's really... It's simple. It's very simple economics. Some of you might not understand this. It's called the trickle-down effect. Basically, what happens is rich people, like myself, we get money, and then we give a little bit of that money to other slightly less rich people. They give it to slightly less rich people, down the line, until some poor people get some of that money somehow.
How? So if it's trickled down.
Yeah.
Do they get sort of less and less as it goes down?
Of course, but that's what they're used to.
Right,
so that's
yes.
fine.
Yes, it's very true.
It's quite difficult to understand. I can see some of you, some blank faces out there. It's but it's true. It's like magic. It's a process. None of us really understand how it works. It's a bit like homeopathy or farting in a lift. It's hard to... It's hard to see it happen, but God, you can feel the effects,
Yes, that's so true. I think it is. This often gets overlooked, this argument of what people are used to. So, for example, I mean, I don't want to talk about the refugee crisis, but that some wokey figures will tell you that places like Libya take in more refugees, but Libya's not very nice. It's what they're used to, So
also, I mean, neither is Didcot Airport Parkway, is it? Neither is Solihull.
I had a lovely afternoon in Solihull once.
Did you?
Yes.
With who?
With my wife.
Jane, what a lovely lady.
I don't...
Can we not talk about my wife?
I feel like that was a trick question.
My wife.
Sorry, are we talking about my wife? I'm confused.
Is your wife called Jane?
Yes. One of them is. I can't remember if I'm the one I'm still married to. Maybe. I'll email her later.
So, Sir Edward Fry, getting back on topic. Now, a little birdie has told me that we are expecting a comeback in fracking.
Oh, very exciting.
Oh, that's fracking great.
Yeah.
Lovely.
You're very, very good, Eshaan.
Thank you.
Lovely. What the frack are you talking about?
He's great, isn't he?
Did you frack my wife? Things like that.
Yeah.
I've said all of those sentences to Boris Johnson, actually.
Have you?
Yeah, all of them.
Can I just ask...
Oh, frack off, Martin.
Yeah.
I just
Who the frack's this guy? Come on, are we?
I just feel like that perhaps there's an argument that fracking might not be the best thing that we could do.
And by the way, he does this a lot.
Why?
Whenever we talk about the environment, Martin starts spouting off.
It's just there's been a lot of science, which is usually a good thing.
Yeah.
To believe,
right?
And yet you're celebrating it.
Look, fracking is the fossil fuel it's cool to like. All right, it's cool. It sounds cool, doesn't it? We've just explained it. Frack. It's cool. It's punk, if anything. I love a bit of fracking.
Ooh, like Brewdog,
yeah, like that. Like it's something that's awful that's been rebranded to sound cool. I think fracking's great. I love it. I fracking love it.
Listen to Martin. He knows what he's talking about. He's an expert.
Yes, I've worked in this business a very long time.
Yeah.
I know a lot about. You're worried about climate change, aren't you? Is that what you're saying?
Well, yes. I think we should all be quite worried about it, to be honest.
Look, it's a very serious subject, and we take it very seriously here at Petrocorp. And I can reveal, actually, as a bit of an exclusive for the podcast, that as a result of our climate change commitments, this year we have agreed to paint all of our oil rigs green.
That's wonderful.
That's nice.
That's very nice.
Good for the landscape.
And that's going to be very expensive because the paint we're using is actually derived, the pigment is actually derived from the gallbladder of the panda. We've had to kill a lot of pandas. But it's worth it because it will make a real statement, I think.
I just can't help but feel that considering your company is called Petrocorp, perhaps you don't have the climate and the environment at your heart.
Oh, don't assume, Martin, for goodness sake.
Not that I would assume. I don't want to cast aspersions.
Look. I suppose the thing about climate change is it's all of our problem, isn't it? Because think about it. Look, guys. I mean, we could have all done things differently in the past, couldn't we? We could have all decided to go on fewer foreign holidays, put the thermostat down a couple of notches, use a shampoo bar instead of a shampoo bottle.
Yeah.
Recycle a little bit more, guys.
Not got that third house.
Fifth house, whatever. And then in our case, we could have maybe not funded loads of think tanks who deliberately discredited climate science for the last 30 or 40 years and invested in climate denialism. But we've all got things we could have done differently. That's the point. So I think it's fair to have a sort of balanced approach, Martin. In a way, we're very much the same.
Okay.
There are things you could have done differently, things I could have done differently.
I suppose I don't always, put my coffee grinds into the...
So in many ways, you're worse than me.
I mean,
Martin,
Yes.
you putting coffee grinds where you put them is the reason why Pakistan is a fifth flooded. You did that.
I didn't mean
Martin,
to do
you shouldn't have done that.
anything.
Well,
That's really quite
intention
awful.
is not always the problem, Martin, is it? It's the effects of what you do. That's the thing.
Yeah.
I'm actually not sure I'm comfortable sharing a stage with him anymore.
I'm sorry. I know people often have this problem. We have to keep him there for balance,
Right, okay.
and also because no one else would work with me. Now, many of our audience will be quite worried about the cost of living crisis and about bills going up. Because they haven't earned enough money in other walks of life. But is there anything you can say to them to maybe make them feel better or less worried?
Well, I suppose the thing is that Petrocorp is largely owned by people from this country. So when we're making a lot of money, in a way, so are you.
Oh. It's lovely. They like that. Yeah, they're all comforted. So please take that into account, everyone. If you're getting colder and you're worried about your bills, he's all right.
I'm fine.
Okay, he's doing okay, and the energy companies are doing okay, and I think that's very British, actually, isn't it? We've got to be some murmurs of agreement. We've got to be proud of our exports and our companies and proud of you.
Who would invest in the UK if we weren't making massive profits? That's the point.
Yes.
That's the point.
Who would invest? Who would invest, Martin?
I mean, I just feel like maybe people would be warmer and be able to eat more. So that's on one side, and then, you're having a nice
Massive
time.
profits
So that's
there,
So I guess it's balanced.
We don't want people to eat more. That would be a strain on the NHS, wouldn't it? That would be... We don't really want that to happen.
And actually, if you exercise, that does make you hot, doesn't it?
Hot, there you go.
Yeah, run around a bit.
I've never done it, so I don't know. That hurt.
So, Sir Edward Fry, before we say goodbye, is there anything else you'd like to say? Any kind of point you want to make while you're in this space that is safe for you?
Well, all I'd like to say is that I know that Liz has had a tough opening week. She wasn't expecting any of this to happen.
No.
Literally any of it. I think, if you saw her face, she is... really feels like she's just working... Quantum Leap's coming back. Maybe it's already started. Who knows? But all I know is that I've known her a very long time.
Yes.
And I am convinced that she will do whatever it takes for me to have a great time. So I think we can all take that, because if anything, I feel like I represent most of us. And...
Yeah.
Thank you. And so, yes, in many ways, I think I'm going to be fine over the winter, and I think we all are. On average, going to be fine. If the mean of this room, income-wise, is probably about, I don't know, what do you guys earn? 200 grand?
Yeah, that's about the average.
Yeah, so if the mean is about 200 grand and I earn, 50, 60 million, then on average, we're all going to be fine. It's been lovely to
Well, thank you so much. I'm just seeing a sea of reassured faces.
Good.
So thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you very much.
I'll keep in touch.
See you soon. Keep warm. Thank you.
Sir Edward Fry, everyone. Thank you. You shouldn't upset our guests like that.
I didn't mean to. I just thought that maybe I could join in the conversation sometimes.
Well, as I'm about to take us on one of our regular features here, which is called Is It Woke? As many of you know, the woke left are ever encroaching. They're taking over more and more things. Swimming pools, gerbils, all sorts. And in this feature, we really take to task and we ask whether it's woke. Now, usually I'd lead with this, but I'm going to pass on to Eshaan here and ask him, Eshaan, what today are we asking, is it woke?
Well, as you will have heard, this last week has been a very difficult time for the United Kingdom. Our great leader, Queen Elizabeth II, sadly passed away at the tender age of 96 years old. And, of course, people are going out of their way to make sure they show their respects in all sorts of ways. Cancelling football matches, not cricket and rugby, though. Cancelling football matches, making sure that companies send out statements to share the fact that they're so sad about our dear Queen dying. Anne Summers did one. Anne Summers did one where they said, we're so sad the Queen is dying, got 3 for 2 on vibrators.
It's a bit disgusting.
So I'm saying, I believe that showing respect in a time of death is woke.
Eshaan, that's absolute bollocks. An absolute load of codswallop.
Why?
But you can't say, of course, we should be cancelling things. The Queen has died.
Well, we didn't cancel this. We're very happy to do this, aren't we?
This is different. I'm in it. I'm speaking truth to the Guardian readers.
This is no time for truth. If you really believe this is no time for truth...
No, sorry. That we are all about freedom of speech on this programme.
Yes.
Freedom of speech and freedom to shut up. And some people need to shut up and show respect
why aren't you
and shut down.
You're not letting me exercise my freedom of speech.
Well, I know you are. You're doing your stupid little provocative little.
I'm not being
beef
provocative
rap.
at all. I just think that at the time of the Queen's dying, I don't particularly want to think about vibrators.
No,
Although, truth be told, when things get stressful, you might need some relief. I mean, I tell you what, the last 48 hours, I have drained myself clean.
Every week you tell me to give him a call, and every week he turns up.
Look, I don't know if Anne Summers is the right one to
Okay,
focus
Ben
on.
and Jerry's.
Ben and Jerry's.
They were
okay.
sad about it.
Yes, well, they were sad about it. Now, look, I don't usually like Ben and Jerry's. I think they get a bit sort of politically involved when really they're just ice cream. They're just ice cream. Stop it. Stop it. But even ice cream melts when the Queen dies, doesn't it?
Oh, yes, of course.
So, of course, Ben and Jerry's are going, right to do a statement about the Queen.
What do you think having those statements achieves, though? What do you think a company saying, yo, we're sad about this, what do you think that achieves, really?
It tells people that they need to be sad. Otherwise, people don't know. Do you know what would happen if people weren't told they had to be sad about the Queen? They'd be happy, Eshaan. That's why everywhere you walk in London at the moment, there are photos of the Queen, because otherwise people might forget and be happy. You've got to be sad. So we need the ice creams, we need the vibrators, we need everything we can get. We need the kebabs. The British Kebab Awards, they made a statement.
I'm not
we need all these people to remind us to be sad, or pandemonium will break loose.
Frankly, I'm not surprised that you'd like these forms of grand expressions of grief, because we're currently sat down in front of almost a South American dictator-style photo of yourself. Of course you like this.
For the listeners who can't see this, I am indeed sat in front of an absolutely enormous picture of myself.
It's sort of like Godzilla.
It's
just coming over.
something more of a sort of
over the globe.
Amazon.
You know, when you force grief and sadness and respect on people, I think a lot of people feel the need to do the opposite. And there are people out there who want, they want to be disrespected.
Well,
Jane, for example.
I don't think we need to talk about my wife on air again. I'm going to put my foot down.
What do you mean Jane wants to be disrespected?
Well, I mean, Anne Summers had a very good BDSM section.
He's just making things up to winds me right up and let me go.
I wish you'd stop sort of being dirty about my sister.
I'm not being
on this podcast.
dirty about your sister.
I have to say, I think that it's important that people grieve in their own way, and sometimes that's by being sad. Sometimes that's by eating ice cream. So I love to do it, and you hate to see it, but I'm sitting on the fence here. Okay, I think I'm being very brave. I'm going to say it's neither woke nor unwoke.
Oh, for goodness sake.
Martin, this is a first for you.
I wrote a poem.
You did write a poem.
So I thought, why not?
Would you set that poem on a black background and put it on social media?
What do you think we should do? Black squares?
I'm a bit nervous about posting anything on social media in case it offends anyone, but
everyone's so nice on social media. They never misunderstand anything. They understand nuance and understand everything.
Yes.
I think go for it. Go wild.
Yes.
So, right, okay, let's conclude this. So, is it woke? You think?
I think absolutely showing respect like this is woke. It's trying to sell yourself as something you're not. It's trying to jump on a bandwagon of grief,
right,
and doing things that are pretty insincere, cancelling football matches over the weekend.
It does sound like you're mainly annoyed about the football, to be honest.
So I'm...
Yes, I am.
I'd like to categorically say that grief is not woke. I think that's absolutely ridiculous, and I think it's disrespectful, to be honest, that this is even a feature. And Martin, you decided to fall on either end?
I thought I might jam out another poem. G is for grief. It's not very nice. R is for really bad. That's as far as I've got.
It's interesting because you could tell there was a marked difference between that and the first poem. It's almost like you just came up with that one on the spot.
That was just improvising.
Almost like it's just improvised.
I is for improvised. E is for excellent improvisation.
Oh, bloody hell. Let's just
F.
say F on everyone's going to clap.
F is for fracking hell.
Oh, my.
Sorry, that was beautiful. Can
Thank
everyone
you.
give that a clap?
Thank you.
That was so wonderful. This is why it's wonderful having Eshaan on the programme, because not only is he our diversity hire, he's also a great comedic mind and a poet.
Yes.
And a poet. Yes. Please, can we have a round of applause for Is It Woke? Thank you very much. So, how do I describe our next guest? Well, I felt it was very important to have someone on the show, basically, who could atone for their satirical sins. You may know him as the character Jonathan Pye. This is the man behind the mask, and he's been quite rude about our government in various, in character form. And I can tell a lot of you already are looking quite angry about this. And don't worry, we're going to hold him to account. Please give still a warm welcome to Tom Walker. Thank you very much. Thank you. Hello, Tom. Thank you. Thanks for coming. Thank you. Now, listen, Tom, I'm suspecting most people know who you are, but for those who don't, could you sort of describe you? You've got a character, an angry character.
A hilarious angry character. It sort of seems to annoy everybody. I know I'm sort of next to the Guardian, and they love me. And
well, some of them have sneaked in today.
And the right-wing press love me as well. So I think I seem to piss everyone. Maybe I'm just universally shit, and just it doesn't matter what your political view is.
Unite them all in
I play this angry news reporter, and the conceit is what do news reporters say when the producer says cut? What do they really think about that sort of rather, either balanced or not kind of view of the world,
Yes.
We should do that with producer Martin, see what he really thinks.
He doesn't think anything. Okay. He doesn't think anything. No, that's interesting. So it's sort of like the BBC, really. They obviously are very biased in one way. What do they really think? That kind of thing.
But I mean, in all seriousness, they must sometimes be. I mean, even this week with the Queen thing. I don't know if you've heard, but they must be going. They know it's happened, and of course they have to be respectful and wait till it's announced and everything. But it was 4 or 5 hours of and they must have been going, Jesus Christ. And maybe there's an inner monologue going on there that maybe I can...
I think you should, produce Martin, I think you should cut that bit, because I think that was disrespectful.
Okay, yes. I don't think it's going to be a 30-minute podcast this week at all. It might just be 5, but that's fine.
It's fine. We can just do my bits.
We'll put some more ads in.
It's really interesting, this kind of disrespectful thing. I mean, this is kind of what you're talking about. And what was the comedian the other night? He's kind of went on the day that she died.
Kevin
Bridges. And
yes.
it's like, if I'd have had to go on stage that night,
yes,
you'd have had to say something, right?
100%.
And also the joke itself wasn't disrespectful.
Yeah,
it was fairly measured. And now, 48 hours later, you've been sort of doing jokes about jacking off to it, but we're sort of out the other end, didn't you?
Not to it. I was just saying.
That was the implication, though, wasn't it? It was the implication.
That bit will also be cut. It will also be cut.
Guess it is getting increasingly hard to edit these things out, you see, when they permeate every conversation.
Now, Tom, let's talk about your
Is there a question?
Is there a question? Yes, there is a question. You say a lot of anti-Boris stuff as your character. Boris, not R.I.P.
I have merely pointed out time and time again that he is a liar. I haven't. That is not me offering an opinion. That is me just stating an irrefutable fact.
It sounds to me like an opinion.
It does, doesn't it?
Tom.
But
I don't think he lies. Nadine Dorries doesn't think he lies.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
We'll beg to differ.
Beg to differ.
All right.
So what I guess what I want to ask is it hard saying things you don't believe in just for laughs?
You'd be amazed. You'd be amazed how lucrative it can be to pretend to be a socialist. It really is.
Yeah.
I tell you what, Boris, in all seriousness, because I know this is at its roots, it's a very serious podcast. Boris was. I'm kind of, from a satirical point of view, I'm glad he's gone, because a bit like Trump, Trump was really difficult to satirise because he did it for you, right? Yeah. And actually, you know, you'd find yourself actually you were being lazy because you're going, look at this tweet, he can't spell. That's it, you know, and because he did it for you, right? And with Boris, it became a point where he lied with such sort of casuality that to every week just go, he's lied again. We all became a little bit sort of anaesthetised to it. So actually, I mean, and now we have another dear leader, Ms. Charisma herself. Yeah. I mean, what was interesting is when she met the King. That's a really weird thing to say, but she met the King yesterday, and it was like I felt almost sorry for her because it was so sort of cringe with this lack of charisma, but. Charles, come on in, sit down, have a cup of tea.
I like how Charles turned into Ray Winston there for a bit.
But you know what I mean? It was quite...
She is passionate. She gave a very passionate speech.
Against
where she started... off as a bin bag, and then she transformed before our eyes.
I love that.
And she said, "Go away, weather," and it did.
It did. Yeah.
It did.
Yeah.
I mean, she's got lots of passion, and sometimes the passion has been misplaced.
It has.
Like, you know, sort of.
Oh, come on! We were all a Lib Dem when we were 17. Come on! I mean, you know, we've all been there.
No, I was never Lib Dem. You were Lib Dem.
I don't like to state my voting contention.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Tom, what do you feel is harder? Writing jokes or calling the Prime Minister a
I've had a lot of shit from the right-wing press for various reasons this week, but one of them was because I did call Liz Truss a I tweeted it, right? And it was in reference to something. I didn't call it her directly. It's like, she must be one. You have to be very careful on Twitter because that word can get you banned. And rightly kind of so. And people kind of pick me... For a start, it's Twitter. I'm sorry, I'm not writing sophisticated jokes for Twitter, right? That's for my live show that people have to pay for, right? I'm sorry. But also, it's like, it wasn't exactly my finest hour. I'll admit that. But I've got about 18 months to sort of get better at what to call it. No, I won't apologise.
Do you think you should? I think maybe you should do an apology. Maybe you could go on a programme where a sort of black polo neck and just atone for your sympathy.
Was your tweet reported?
No, because I'm very careful. You don't say you are a... You say it's almost as if they are, or you have to be very careful. But in this particular instance, she was basically saying poor people can swivel, and whatever I do, that's a direct quote. Yeah. So in my mind, she is a and I'm expressing that opinion. I mean, she's vile.
Poor people are good at swivelling. You've got to be able to swivel when you're bricklaying or something, don't you?
Yeah. I don't quite get... Is there a bricklaying reference?
No, there isn't.
No. Like a hoddle.
Yes.
Swivel your hoddle.
Swivel quickly.
Yeah.
I think it's a
what is a hoddle?
It carries bricks, I think.
Is it?
It's a working class thing. You wouldn't know it. In answer to your serious question, sometimes it's a balance of, sometimes you can write a really good joke, and sometimes you can just go, Boris is a liar, and that works just as well. Because the conceit is that a news reporter would never say that. So actually, I can get away with being quite lazy sometimes, but. One would hope if you watch a 4 or 5 minute piece of mine, or if you come to see one of my live shows, they are fairly tightly written, but with the occasional just like, no, he is a wanker, thrown in for good measure,
Tom, you take the money from the New York Times to criticise the UK government.
Yeah.
So... tell me, do you know who Lord Haw-Haw was?
Go f*** yourself.
I think I might keep that one in, actually.
I do love the idea that, like occasionally, for what I do, and, it was kind of an accidental career that I fell into. I was a very, very... Clearly not a very good actor for 20 years, and I didn't earn any money, and I was really...
Don't know what that's like
really,
at all.
I know. Yeah. And, I was in what you'd call in this country relative poverty for 2 decades, right? And then this character came along, and this thing happened to me, and it was amazing, but I did have to kind of make it pay, and very, very early on, I worked for about 2 or 3 months, Russia Today. But... I licensed my stuff for them. They offered me 300-400 quid a week to do it, and it pulled me out of poverty. And these days it's really not a good look, and I'll admit it. But I can't go back. I can't change it. It pulled me out of poverty, and the only people that really pull me up on it are middle-class arseholes who don't know what it's like to not have choices in your life, right? Because if I'd had the choice, I might not have done it. But I didn't have a choice. It pulled me out of poverty, and I wouldn't be sat here defending it if I hadn't been given that opportunity, right? To move on, therefore, to the New York Times, right? So they've recently come to me and said, do you want to do some work with me? And absolutely. And, of course, you know, the right-wing press have gone for me because I was in the Daily Mail this week. I am a Kremlin-linked actor.
Yes.
And you go, look, it's round my neck for the rest of my life, and I just have to live with it, and it's okay, you know. And The Guardian have not been particularly... You know, it's just the one that they're going to beat me with for the rest of my life. But with the New York Times thing as well, you know, it's not to everyone's politics. I just like the idea that people think if I earn a bit of money through what I do, that I'm selling out, Jonathan Pye's selling out. It's like, how the do you expect me to eat? Do you know what I mean? I've got to earn some money, you know? And the reality of that, if you don't like the New York Times, don't watch it.
I don't think clowns should get money.
Yeah.
Why did you look at me as you said that?
But, I mean, one of the criticisms that was launched your way was from Niall Gardner. Now, I'm sure everybody knows who Niall Gardner here is. He's a very famous friend of the podcast. He's, of course, for those of you who don't know, and I'm sure you do, but you have to say this for people at home, he is the director of Margaret Thatcher Centre for Freedom of the Heritage Foundation. We all know him. He's wonderful.
Also,
man.
if you're going to do a hit piece on Jonathan Pye, right? If the only person you can find that is going to go an interview is
the best man in the world.
The best man in the world 40 years ago. Do you know? I mean, how old is this guy?
He's the director of the Margaret Thatcher Centre for Freedom of the Heritage Foundation, which we've all heard of.
Yeah.
I go there every Sunday just to have some
Pick up
alone
men.
time.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, that's a bit rather a crude way of putting it, Tom. But I meet like-minded souls there. We think about Maggie, and then we go off and do other things.
It's like their Viagra, isn't it? Just a picture of Maggie.
Yes.
Schwang.
It says everyone's... Anne Summers should have... No. But Niall, one of the things he said that your video was the kind of video the Kremlin would put out about Britain.
Well, it's almost as if the Mail asked him to do that because then they could link me back to the Russia connection.
No, the Daily Mail would never do that.
They would never do that.
No, they'd never do that.
There is this kind of odd thing, you know... I suppose right-wingers do it, but left-wingers do it as well. It's like, if you're having a go at the government, you must not be patriotic. This idea that if you are not a monarchist, you must hate Britain, right? Whereas, you know, it's a sort of a wanky thing to say, isn't it? But you know, having a go at the government is patriotic. To use our freedoms to pull them to account, or call them a or to write a lazy joke about them. Do you know what I mean? I love the way how I'm degrading my work so openly. But yeah, that's
if you care about something, you should be comfortable enough to say the things that you despise or dislike about it because you want it to be better.
Yeah, I mean, this piece in the New York Times was... I mean, you know, again, it's a written piece, and you go, well, in this piece, I'm going to decide that Jonathan Pye has had enough, and therefore he is desperate, and therefore he's listing everything that is wrong with this country, and he's in despair, really, and at the end, he's just like, I've had enough. Well, if you leap on that, and if you judge it as a piece of journalism, then of course it's hysterical. Of course it's histrionic, right? But it's not. It's a character, it's a piece of satire, and it's this British man who says, I am a patriot, but everything's gone to shit, and I don't know what to do about it. And now our Prime Minister is in my mind, someone demonstrably the wrong person at the wrong time. I mean, the wrong person at any time, in my view, but you know...
No, she knows a lot about cheese.
She does, and she bows like a well, it was sort of a curtsy bow. Did you see her?
The curtsy bow.
The curtsy bow.
I think we're calling it a cow.
All right, okay.
Producer Martin, do you have any sort of annoying inputs?
Well, no, I do. Actually, I like to sort of have a little section where I get to talk to our guest.
Great.
Hello, Tom.
Hi, how are you?
I'm very well, thanks.
Good.
No one's actually asked me that.
It's fine.
Like, ever.
Okay. I mean, again, it's sort of it's polite rather than. I mean, if you answered the question,
Yes, I see.
You know.
It's not an indication
I
that you
don't
like
care.
me, right?
I don't
Okay,
care,
cool.
no.
So, you're famous for doing a funny character, Jonathan Pye.
Yeah.
And what I've come up with are several other characters, and I thought maybe you could pick one that you like,
Yeah.
and that you can just have it for free.
Okay, great.
Because I'm a fan.
Yeah.
Okay, so first of all, we've got Albert Cake. So he's a weatherman. He's a weatherman, and he's got very strong opinions about meteorology. So, you know, weather.
Yeah.
Oh, the sun.
Bloody sun.
Yeah,
And yeah. Political correctness gone mad.
Oh, I like
yeah,
it. That's,
Is it? Are they all going to be like this?
No, what do you mean?
See, what I feel now is I don't know whether this is funny or whether this is you're just underneath just going, what you do, mate, is shit. You just put a normal name with a food stuff at the end, and then you just go, oh, that's shit.
I
So,
don't.
Karen, I'm looking forward to the rest of these. and I want you to look me straight in the eye when you do it. All right.
Straight in the eyes.
It's really just a puff piece that I do. Okay. Next up, Jeffrey Trifle.
Brilliant. Yeah. Let me get. Does he get angry about stuff?
No. He's a war correspondent, and he's actually a real laugh.
That is quite good.
But he has to be serious all the time, so he
Okay,
doesn't get
yeah.
to, so
Yeah.
he just sort of tells jokes and is quite affable.
Great.
Okay?
Nice chap. Yeah.
Yeah, which, could be fun. And then thirdly, the final choice, Greg Tiramisu.
Yeah.
He's a football commentator,
Yeah.
and he just keeps on commentating when he's off air. He just keeps
Okay.
on, so you
Yeah.
think he's off, but he's not.
Yeah.
It's just more
great.
football chat.
I mean, I suppose we could sort of,
Work
it's
together?
sort of like a sketch show,
Like a
isn't
sort
it?
of- yeah.
Yeah. Well, put something together and we can discuss it. I mean, the MASH report's off the BBC now. They're looking for
Yeah.
something really smart and satirical, aren't they?
What?
Well,
Do
producer
you really
Martin.
want to do all those
Walker.
characters?
Well, the problem is, I mean, if you look at my face and the way I talk, I mean, it's a real stretch when I just go into Jonathan Pye, right? You can tell it's a lot of work. So it would be 5 people that talk and look exactly like me.
Different hats.
Different hats.
Different hats.
Yeah.
We've only got time for one more question as we're running out of time. So, it's good to leave the most important ones
It is.
for last. Are you available for children's parties?
I mean, that would be another one, couldn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
There was a comedian, I forget what his name was, but his shtick was the worst kids
entertainer.
Kids entertainer ever.
What,
like,
Rolf Harris?
drunk. Yeah. Very good. Top notch. It wasn't that funny.
I think that's a really good idea, actually.
Well, yeah.
Tommy Blancmange.
Tommy Blancmange.
Well, Tom, thank you so much for coming on the podcast.
It was a really well worth getting out of bed for. So thank you so much.
Yeah, I'm sure he's serious. Thank you. Thanks very much.
We'll be back next week. Please rate and review if you're still listening, which statistically most podcast listeners aren't, but please do. It's very important. With thanks to Rosie Holt, Brendan Murphy, Eshaan Akbar, Matt Green, Tom Walker, Ed Morrish, and thank you to Zoe Jays and everyone at King's Place and the London Podcast Festival for hosting us. See you next week for more Non-Censored.